Hi, this is Insha Qazi. I'm also known for doing something very unthinkable, something very impractical, but yet something very fabulous. I started Kashmir's first and only fashion design institute, and it was in the year 2016. This year was known for a lot of conflict, a lot of bloodshed, because this is the year when the conflict actually gained its spectrum in Kashmir. So as soon as I started, all enthusiastic, the first challenge which I faced was the societal challenge. People were like, are you sure you want to open a fashion school in Kashmir? Isn't it like having a rooftop cafe in a snowstorm? So I was just running towards a dream. I knew I was going to make it until we had one more challenge in the role, which was the killing of a militant, and which caused a lot of turmoil and bloodshed in the valley. And that was the time when actually all the communication was blacked out. There was a very long lockdown which was in the valley, and because of that, as soon as we started, the problems started coming in. So there is one more interesting thing about conflict. I don't know how many people know it. So if we look at the history, so wherever there has been a conflict, there has been a lot of improvisation and a step towards creativity. You know, it's the intense emotions which cause exceptional artistic expression. Often conflict ignites our profound creativity. War always breeds artistic brilliance. Restriction sparks innovation. And under political chaos, creativity becomes a rebellion. So talking about rebellion, you will see in history we had a lot of underground theaters when there was war. We had graffiti all over the walls, and there was people wanted to do something. It was probably a fight against themselves. They wanted to prove themselves. Another thing is scarcity. So what happens when there is a conflicted area? You know, there is communication and blackout. There are certain materials that you don't have. So there was a time when our students were walking through the barricades with their portfolios in the hand, and they were going through frisking, and there was a lot of devastation among people. And of course, I feel that, you know, the art which is born in the dark often becomes an unforgettable light. Peace may be beautiful, but what art comes in war is even more beautiful. I think it's important to be stripped of your comfort so that the artist come from the core. So people would ask me, who thinks of fashion when the world is burning? I said, only those who believe in the form of beauty of resistance. When we started, there were a lot of scenes when the whole escapism was from the current scenario, but we were ready to confront it, to style it, and to redefine it. So the first thing how we started was a revolution in fabric. While the world was burning, we were thinking about creativity. We were making sure that we are not only just producing designers, we're also producing CEOs, the entrepreneurs, the students who know that they have to go beyond. And this is how our students were a part of the most prestigious fashion weeks. They were representing India and Russia, and our alumni eventually became a part of top fashion houses in India. So we were not just using art to express ourselves, we were using art to express the reality. And our practices were made sure that we follow a very sustainable model, and something that could be refurbished, recycled, and where we could turn all the silhouettes from imagination. So as spoken already, conflict is about haunting poems, revolutionary paintings, and defiant fashion culture. So this was something about us. So when people ask me, after all these years, that fashion has no future, and I just smile and hit the runway video, and in few years we became, our institution became one of the powerful institution of self-expression, of refurbished clothing, of recycled and sustainable clothing. So we had emphasized on sustainability, indigenous textiles, ethical practices, and the materials that we were using were completely ethical, like hand-woven cotton, linen, etc. We were teaching students the journey of the fabric, where the fabric came from, the journey of the seed, the journey of cloth, and it was the respect we showed to our local artisans, and how that seed, that cloth becomes a history in revolution, and that is where the real luxury lies. Turning scraps into art in conflict when there was a scarcity of materials. The scarcity was the reason we believed in innovation, and innovation was picking things which were discarded, like discarded materials like combs, rugs, even balloons. And we had to highlight how this could be a part of India's top runways. And that's how we were at the Times Lifestyle Fashion Week, Lakme Fashion Week, Amazon Fashion Week, named top fashion weeks of India. And it was the first time Kashmir, students of Kashmir were representing their place in all these places. The future of the fashion doesn't just lie in aesthetic, it lies in accountability. Apart from this, because of the turmoil and all the stress Kashmir was going through, the lockdown, people had boycotted coming to Kashmir, people had lost jobs, it was a state of scarcity. And I think as an institution, it also gave us a commitment to social responsibility and a quiet way to change lives. We were not just designing clothes for the runway, but we were also feeding the hungry, sheltering the homeless, educating children, and empowering women. And during this time, something that we did which became very impactful in Kashmir was designing clothes, bridal trousseau for the underprivileged and orphaned girls. So this is where fashion met compassion, style met love, and this is how we try to bring in a change by making people more socially responsible and teaching them commitment towards the underprivileged lives of people. I think we made sure that these girls also deserve the confidence, joy, and dignity in their new beginnings, and without making them feel any less, we had to do this. So my journey didn't quite end here. Because there was a rebel stirring inside me, I made sure that from threads we shift to concrete, to chaos, to chicken, and to copper vessels. This is my homestay phase, where I started Kashmir's first unique sustainable homestay. And it wasn't just Kashmir. Within few months, we became India's top loved unique homestays. And this was my journey from sustainable fabrics to sustainable architecture. The space that I was able to design, because design was running in my veins and I was only thinking about design, whether it was food, whether it was architecture, whether it was fabric. The space echoed the rebellious spirit, and the space was nothing like you ever see in Kashmir. Yes, you have never seen such place in Kashmir, yet it had people rushing in. So this place was industrial, avant-garde, gothic, exposed concrete, metal pipes, and artists and travelers all over the world were gravitating towards our homestay. And the basic thing is that we are selling an intention. There's an intention behind our homestay. It's not just known for design. Whether it's local artisans, local stones, repurposed wood, or Kashmiri craftsmanship, contemporary design. This is what makes our homestay a homestay. The beauty about this homestay is that the guests are sipping apple cider vinegar, which is just fallen from the apples from the tree in the garden. The guests are eating zucchini, which is as farm fresh, from farm to right to your fork. And sometimes people would tell me, how is this place even how is this place even a thing? It's all industrial, it's raw, there's a very raw emotion with it. And within 3, 2, 1, I see them taking a picture, putting an vintage filter and just uploading it on Instagram. Hashtag slow travel goals. And I find it very amusing that just with the right Edison bulbs, the whole slow travel goals, you are shipped into past where it's all about Edison bulbs and chickens. Within few months, we were also featured by Condé Nast Traveler, Travel and Leisure, AD, Good Homes, Better Homes, all top Indian magazines, all top Indian awards, Make My Trip, Travel and Leisure. They made us India's most favorite homestays, one of the most favorite and unique homestays. And this was something, with all the doubt that I came in, from conflict to drama to people telling me, you cannot do it, you're just delusional, you're very delusional in your head. And some people would also say, is it that why are you avoiding men? Don't you want to get married? And is that why you're doing all that? But the question was, I was just chasing my dreams. I was chasing my dreams in the heels that I bought on sale. And when people would tell me, oh, fashion is not for Kashmir, it's for Paris. And I'm like, no, the revolution starts here. The place that we made it also became a highlight for pre-wedding shoots, for proposals, for unique ways of celebrating, because we were catering one-to-one. We were customizing, we were making the dreams of each and every guest come true. Whether it was an individual, we were catering to their needs, we were doing whatever we could, because we wanted to change the narrative. The narrative was that we as Kashmiris could be the most hospitable, could be the most honest people that you ever meet, the hosts you ever meet. Focusing on slow travel, focusing on old school life, this is how we gained momentum. So eventually it wasn't about whether I opened a fashion school, whether I opened a homestay, whether I dabbled with organic farming. It wasn't about entrepreneurship as well. It was a legacy. It was a legacy that I was trying to build, that I'm still trying to build here. It's the power of design. It's not about looking good for Instagram. It's not about your food being glamorous. It's about honesty. It's about not just about fancy cutlery. It is about reclaiming the narrative. We were always told, you cannot do this. Kashmir is too conflicted. It's too traditional. How can you put a Gothic, Neolithic architecture in a place where it's filled with craftsmanship of khatamband to wooden paneling to everything very traditional? And I just wanted to reclaim the narrative. That's all I've been doing. Who would have thought a girl like me would end up with one of the most prestigious fashion schools in the country? But here's what I learned. I wasn't just making students read in my fashion school. I gave them a pen, I made them rewrite their own story. The students were rewriting their own stories. They became top entrepreneurs, top designers, working for best fashion houses in India. And soon, I was acknowledged by the Honorable Prime Minister of the country, Narendra Modi ji, he tweeted about me, and that was something I will always remember in my life. And that was a moment that gave me tears of joy, and waking up to that really changed my life. And I feel it's motivation, it's dedication that's always going to keep you in sync with your goals. And I became the revolutionary retreat woman of Kashmir. So what happens when a Kashmiri woman ignores the whispers, the warnings, and what will people say? She opens a fashion school. She restores an old house with repurposed wood, repurposed architecture, and makes it one of India's most loved homestays. She grows her own radishes, and she ends up here giving a TED talk. Because sometimes it's not just a dream, it's your pursuit to the dream. Not just a school, but a platform to rewrite stories. Not did I just build a guest house, but a place where food is honest, design is brave, roots are emotional, and they are plated with pride. It's not about what we wear or eat or post on Instagram. In a world which is obsessed with hustle, which is obsessed with glass towers, and I chose soil, stillness, and maybe heirloom tomatoes, because sometimes the most radical thing you can do is dare to imagine and grow your own food and be yourself when nobody sees it. And I dared, thread by thread, concrete by concrete, seed by seed, love by love. Thank you.